Hey, welcome back to another tutorial for Vintage Market and Design Furniture Paint. We have an exciting new product for you that we're going to go over. We've all worked with the Atelier glaze, which comes in many wonderful colors. It's a clear glaze that's tinted with colorants, and we use it over paint to give our different effects, layered looks. Vintage Market and Design has just come up with a clear faux glaze, so we can make our own colors and our own effects, which is really exciting. There's no limit to what you can do here. It's a clear water-based medium. It's got pretty much the same consistency as the colored glaze is, kind of like maple syrup, but not sticky. And you can tint it with any of the other products. What I'm going to do tonight is show you on bare wood. We're going to take espresso, which is just one of the 75 colors in the line, and I'm going to mix 3 different strengths of glaze, one with a third paint to 2/3 glaze, one with half and half, and one with 1/4 to 2/3 paint. And so you'll see it gets progressively darker, it grabs a little bit more, and you can get some natural stain looks this way. You can do finishes over stencils and over decoupage and over crackle. It's just something that's really going to be fun to play with, and it opens up a lot of creativity. One thing to remember, the colored Atelier glazes are made with colorants, and they don't have drying agents or titanium dioxide or anything like that. When you mix your own glaze with the paint, the chalk-based paint that has gesso and minerals and so forth in it, it does have more drying agents in it, so you're not going to have as long of an open time working with these products together. Just keep that in mind as you go. What that would mean is if you're doing a dresser, you would just want to do one drawer at a time. Don't try and do the entire dresser at once. And if you're in hot weather, do even smaller sections. But the adaptability, the versatility that you're going to have with this is going to make it a really exciting thing. So let's start mixing some colors to put over the bare wood. We will in a later tutorial go over painted finishes so you can see what to do with that. But this is just nice because it's going to give us an option. If we get a piece that hasn't been finished at all, you're going to be able to get almost a pickled look or a color wash look by using this product. So I'm going to start out with some very loose measurements. I tend to cook this way and also paint this way. I don't measure anything exactly, but I'm going to have more glaze than paint in this first sample. So I'm going to do 3 spoons of the glaze and just 1 of the paint. And I love espresso. It's a nice neutral dark brown. Mix is super easy. There's no spotting, there's no pigment not mixing in. It just automatically goes together like a lovely glaze. And let me get a little brush here. This is going to be transparent because of the clear glaze, so don't expect to get 100% coverage or an opaque finish like you would if you were using just the paint. But gosh, for anything where you want the decoupage to show through, you want it to go in the crackles but still be see-through, you want it to give kind of a stained look to bare wood, this is just going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so I did just a slight 100% coverage on that. I'm going to take a slightly damp rag, almost dry, and I like to use a flat surface of the rag because you don't want to have any effect that looks like sponging or stippling or ragging like we used to do 15 or 20 years ago. On the edges where it's rough wood, where the wood's been cut, it's going to grab a little bit more than it does on the surface where the grain is more closed. And then I'm just going to take another dry brush and go over that just lightly to smooth it out. Look how fast that goes and how easy it is. And it's lovely because you still get the wood grain coming through. It still even has the luminosity of the wood when you get that pretty shininess. And I could picture doing a Scandinavian stencil on top of this with some blue and red and white, and then just doing my matte finishing cream. Or I could see taping out some areas and do solid opaque paint over it and having this just be the background. Here in the Southwest we have a lot of finishes where there'll be like Zias and Cocopellis and things with the wood behind it, but you don't want it to be just a blank wood like this. So that would be really fun for layering. And that's just with 25% paint, 75% clear faux glaze. Okay, so we used our clear glaze with espresso paint with a mixture of 75% clear glaze, 25% espresso paint. That's what you get, is a very see-through, translucent color wash effect. Lovely, so many uses for that. I'm going to go just a little bit stronger this time, and I'm going to go 50-50% clear glaze, 50-50 paint. Again, just using this espresso color because it's great to give almost a stained look to the wood. And I'm not being real scientific with my measurements, just approximate. The only time that I would measure exactly is if I had a piece that I was doing for a client and I need to give them a touch-up kit and I need to be able to go back 2 years in the future or go forward 2 years in the future and touch it up for them, and I wouldn't want to have to try and match what I did. Then I would make up extra of my material, put it in a little can and give it to them. Or if you're doing a piece for yourself and you think you might need to touch it up later, if you got little ones in the house that are doing a lot of furniture banging, it's a good idea to make yourself some extra. So this is 50-50. It's still going to be translucent, but we're going to have more pigment from the paint. I could see doing this clear faux glaze with antique or cotton or lace or dove and going over a carved piece and having the white go into all the carving and wiping off the surface. And oh my gosh, that would be gorgeous and so quick. You get that look with just one coat of the clear glaze and your paint mixture. Let it dry, go back over it with your matte finishing cream or your clear coats, and bam, you're good to go. Okay, again, I'm going to use my towel that's slightly damp but not super wet. And you do need to work fairly quickly because it's got the paint base in it, which has drying agents. But just the difference there, 25% difference. This is 25% paint, 75% glaze. This is 50-50. Look at how much more coverage you get. For the last one, I would say the best use for this would be almost to use the faux glaze like a conditioning treatment for the paint. If you're ever painting in a really hot climate, like here in New Mexico or next door in Arizona, when it's really hot and dry out and you're trying to paint, sometimes it feels like the paint is not moving enough or it's not thin enough, and you don't want to water it down because that's going to affect how it covers and how it adheres. However, this glaze, because it acts as an agent to keep it what we call open or wet more time, a longer length of time, you could almost use that like a conditioner for the paint on those hot days and have it help your paint smooth out, help it glide, keep it wet a little bit longer. And that's what I'm going to do for this last test. So this time I'm only going to do 1 spoon of the clear glaze and 3 spoons of the espresso. So it's pretty much opposite of what we did for the first sample board. And I think we're going to see that the clear glaze will make this more translucent than just regular paint and make it move nicer and easier and longer, but it's not going to be as see-through as this. Wait, let me get this spoon here. Yeah, I do like the way that makes the paint move real easily and glide. And we'll later on use this clear faux glaze over some painted surfaces so you can see all the beautiful layered finishes and faux effects and decorative painting effects you can get with it. But I just love the options it gives me for bare wood like this to save some time and get some new looks. Okay, so I've got my 100% coverage there. Take my same trusty damp rag. I'm going to try taking a little bit more off the edge here too and see if I can get it to look a little more distressed. And you can see it's staying open or wet for a good length of time so I can manipulate it and get the look that I want. So isn't that nice? You can still see the wood grain. It's not like a solid painted finish, but it's more coverage than the 50/50 and quite a bit more than the 25/75. So lots of options there. And just think of the different things you could do if you taped off areas, stenciled areas, and layered on top of this with the wood grain showing through. Really beautiful effects. Have fun playing with the new clear faux glaze.